Hi everyone, welcome or maybe welcome back to my channel, Colina Crafts. This is a place where I share all of my knitting and crochet projects in the hopes of building a more sustainable wardrobe. So if that's something you're interested in, you might follow along, subscribe. Yeah, I'm really happy to be here and be back making videos. You might have seen on my channel a long time ago, I think about a year ago, I put up a few videos and started a knitting podcast, and then life got busy and I just didn't have the time to dedicate to it, unfortunately. So now I do have a bit of time and I'd like to get back to it because I really miss making videos and showing what I'm working on. So yeah, happy to bring you along the journey with me. So I guess I will start, and I have three main whips that I want to show you today. I don't have any finished objects at the moment. I have a couple of whips that are very near to being finished, but I'll show you some of them today. But yeah, I'm just going to go through whips, and I have some exciting acquisitions in at the end as well. So to start off with, I would like to start with my Stripe Hype sweater by Veronika Lindberg, otherwise known as Kutovakika. She's part of the reason that I wanted to start knitting. I was a crocheter for a very long time. I started when I was a child, but I was never really a good knitter. And when I discovered Veronika's YouTube channel a few years ago, I was obsessed. I think it was the whole series, well, the videos she made when she was creating her wedding dress just captivated me. And since then, I've just been obsessed with her patterns. So I'm looking down because I have my whips on the floor. So that's what I'm looking at if you catch me looking down. But yeah, so the first one I'd like to show you is a Stripe Hype sweater. It's going to be a little bit awkward to show, but yeah, we'll see. So this is my sweater. I'm going to hide myself because it's just easier. This is my sweater, so you can see the different colors that I have. So I currently have the body and one sleeve completed. I need to pick up for the second sleeve and also pick up for the ribbing around the neckline. I think it looks huge when I hold it up just like this, but when I put it on, it's actually not enormous. So it's got plenty of positive ease, that's for sure, but it's what I was going for. So with this, I did gauge swatch for it because in the past I have noticed that when I make patterns, look, I think I'm quite a tight knitter. And I think Veronika Lindberg is quite a loose knitter because she says so in her videos quite a lot. But therefore, I've tried to make a few of her patterns in the past and they've come out quite small. As I said, I used to have a few videos. I made a few videos and put them on my channel like last year. And one of the first things I made was a Rebel Soul beanie of her patterns. And they came out so small. Like the first one I made came out very small, so much so that it was like the ribbing was leaving marks on my forehead when I tried to wear it, so it was a little uncomfortable. But look, it was one of my first knitting projects. We can't really say too much about it. And for this project, for that reason, I said I need to gauge swatch properly for this. So I gauge swatched like this with all of my colours. And I blocked it. So I suppose any eagle-eyed viewer might see this colour. I don't know if you can see that very well there. This green, I didn't think there was enough of a contrast with the beige colour, so I ended up not using this. So basically what I wanted to do with this project, like a lot of other people, I wanted to use up stuff that I had left over, yarn that I had in stash. So I'll just talk through it a little bit. So the materials I'm using, this one here, the pink, is actually, sorry, I'll just get rid of myself in the background. This pink or coral color, I guess, is held double. It's a fingering weight. I think it's merino. I've lost the labels on them now, so I can't give the exact fibers, but I'll put them in along the screen if I remember. I bought that yarn, it must be 10 years ago, must be 10 years plus ago. I'd say it's just been sitting in a box, not being used. So I said, this is its time, it needs to get used. And this is what I have left over from the two balls or two skeins that I had. So yeah, I'm happy that that's nearly used up, and I'll be able to use these definitely for something else as well. So that's that. I'll just pick up the rest of the colours. The other colours then that I'm using, so this navy here, this navy is Rico. So I just get rid of me here. So this is Rico DK Merino. I really should have checked all of these things before I came on to talk about them, but it's Rico DK because my local yarn store keeps a lot of this in stock. And again, this is actually coming from the second Rebel Soul beanie that I made in the previous videos a year ago. I had made a second one out of this navy blue colour, and this is what I had left over from that hat. So then what I did was, instead of using this green, because I didn't like how light it was, I decided to go a different route, and I bought this kind of mustard colour, which is also Rico as well, DK Merino. It's quite soft, it's a nice yarn, I do quite like it. So these are both the same. Originally the idea was I wanted to use everything from Stash for the contrast colours if I could, but I just didn't have anything else that was suitable, unfortunately, to swap out that green. So I did buy one ball of that yellow for that purpose, but I have to say I really like the yellow. I do think it was the right choice. And I think even in the sleeve here, it goes really well with the navy. So yeah, very happy with that choice, to be honest. Then I have this green, which is, it's got a bit of a fuzz to it. It's wool as well. Again, I'll leave the fibers on the screen somewhere, but it's made by a brand called Zafiro. I used to live in Italy, and these two I actually bought, I'm pretty sure, at the same time. So also going back about 10 plus years, I bought them in a market in Italy. I remember buying them, both of them. This one is a brand called Eleonora, I think, and Zafiro. They're very nice. This one, they're different, obviously quite different, but this coral colour is quite soft, whereas this one is a bit more like, it's not rustic by any stretch of the imagination, but it's definitely a bit more rough than, say, the merinos are. And I just thought that was kind of interesting, because you can see as well, when I hold up my sweater, that green it looks like, I don't know, it looks like it's giving me tension issues, which I'm not super happy with. And it's right in the middle of my sweater as well, which is really annoying, but I'm really hoping that it'll just block out. And anyway, if it doesn't, so be it, because I just feel like you can really see the differences in like tension. I just feel like these parts look quite nice, and then the green looks very rough. So yeah, I'm not super happy with that, but I'm thinking it'll come out in the blocking process, or it might make it a little bit better anyway. And then finally, this green colour I have down here is the Merry Merino by Kremka Soul Wool. So it's just merino as well, as is in the name. The Merry Merino 140, I think it's called. And yeah, so I wanted to use that up as well. So I got a good few around the body, but see, that just looks so much more even than this green, which is so annoying, but it's okay. I'm sure it'll even out over time, or it'll block out or something. And yeah, so with this sweater, when I did my gauge swatch, I I think I got pretty close on the stitch count, stitch gauge. I'm pretty sure I got gauge for stitches, but I didn't get row gauge. So I knew that my sweater was going to be longer than Veronica's sweater. So instead of doing maths and trying to figure out how to make it a bit shorter with the stripes and everything, because obviously like with this type of sweater, you're working with numbers of rows. Instead of working, you know, like knit to 30 centimeters in the body or whatever, you know, it would have been a bit harder for me to modify it that way. I would say in comparison to my previous videos, I have a lot more knitting experience now, but I'm still not 100% on, you know, I wouldn't really trust myself to be modifying like sweater patterns too heavily, let's say. But what I did instead to circumvent that, because I didn't want a super, super long sweater, I shortened the body ribbing. So she has this like twisted rib detail at the end. Ugh, keeps focusing on me. She has this twisted rib detail at the end. And I think that looks really nice. But on her sample photos, it's quite high. And I'm pretty sure I also removed another block of this kind of beige colour. But in the sample photos, like she has quite a chunk of ribbing. You can see like in the sleeve here as well, there's I put a lot of ribbing into the cuff. And in her sample photos, she does have quite a lot of ribbing in the body. And I didn't do that because, you know, I knew my sweater was going to be longer anyway. So I decided to shorten the body ribbing. And I'm not sure that I like it, to be perfectly honest. Every time I see the pictures of the sample photos or like other projects in Ravelry, I'm like, oh, I think I prefer their ones, but I'm going to finish it, see how I get on. I can always go back and change it if I want to. But yeah, that's the story with my stripe pipe. I think the next thing I'm going to do with it now, I finished this sleeve over Easter. I knitted on it quite monogamously. I'm doing this on 4.5mm needles. I'm not sure if I said that a while ago or not. And also, sorry, I'm so rusty with this, you can tell. I never mentioned my main colour is I'm using Drops Daisy. I just, as I said, I didn't want this to be a super expensive project. So yeah, Drops Daisy, 100% extra fine merino wool. Pleasantly surprised by this. I'd never used Drops wool before, and I was actually really happy. It's so soft and squishy, and yeah, I think my stitches look really good in it, so quite happy with how it's turning out. And yeah, I didn't want it to be a super expensive project. I wanted to use as much as what I had in stash as I could. Obviously, I didn't have enough of anything for a main colour, so I went with Drops Daisy. A moment for my shoulder seams as well, because I am super happy with how like clean that looks. Very, very happy with it, and it looks really nice on the inside as well. So yeah, I really feel like this project is going pretty well. It fits me well. I'll put in, I have little videos of me wearing it, so I'll try to put something maybe on the screen here, or I might just cover myself. I'm working on the setup. I'll get it sorted out. But that's my stripe pipe, and yeah, I've put it to one side for a little bit just because I've been more excited to work on other things at the moment, but I definitely will come back to it, hopefully sometime soon. So the next project that I want to talk to you about is my Skyline Tee by Tori Yu, and I'm obsessed with this. The first thing I just want to talk about is the yarn that I'm using. So I'm using this Ballyhara Fibres merino, and it's fingering weight. Again, I should have looked up the details before filming this video, but I didn't, and that's a note for me for next time. Basically, I have 2 skeins of this, and I'm making the Skyline Tee, as I said, a t-shirt. So where I'm at with it is here. She's all scrunched up now because she's been in storage for a little bit. But it's a saddle shoulder construction. You can see there's nice like ribbing detail on the shoulder here. And my first time doing a saddle shoulder actually, but look at the colour of that yarn. You can see the slight variegation in it. It's obviously a tonal, but there's like little flecks or little kind of, not really striping, but you can see there's lighter sections and kind of greeny sections. And it is so soft. I'm actually obsessed with how this is working up. So as you can see, I've done the neckline, so it's just a plain 1x1 rib. And I've also finished both sleeves. So yeah, super happy with this. The next thing that I have to do for it, I worked the body until, I think it was until, this is going back like a little bit of time, but I think it was until I ran out of one of the skeins. I think I finished one skein, one of the skeins, and then moved to do the sleeves, because as I said, I had only 2 skeins of this, and this is all I have left. So I had 2 skeins, it's fingering weight merino, and I wanted to, just because this is too short for me right now, for my liking, because I'm quite tall. So yeah, this is too short. So what I wanted to do is go do all of the sleeves and the neck and, you know, the kind of finishing bits, and then go back in to lengthen the body. So I'd put the body on hold, so it's on scrap yarn at the moment. And I went and did the sleeves and the neckline, and then we're here. So yeah, I'm so happy with how this is coming out. I'll again put in a video of me if I can, of me trying it on. So the next thing I want to do with it is to go in and just see how much longer I want it to be, and see if I can get there with what I've left. I think I can. Like, I have so much of this left over. I'm pretty sure I can. I'll be able to make it a decent length. But yeah, unbelievable for like 2 skeins of fingering weight yarn, and I am obsessed. So yeah, as I said, it's a saddle shoulder construction, and then if I'm remembering correctly, there's like short rows to shape the back neck. And yeah, apart from that, I'm really loving how this is going. I think I did a decent enough job. I think maybe like I could have been a bit neater with like picking up sleeves for the stitches in some place, or picking up stitches for the sleeves rather in some places. But overall, yeah, I think it's going really well. I did make a mistake, which I don't really know how I did, but it's a learning curve for me, I guess. But basically, you start out by knitting the saddle shoulders, right? And then you pick up the stitches for the back and you work a piece of the back, and then you knit to X amount of centimeters. And then you pick up for the front and knit down to X amount of centimeters, and thinking they're the same, right? But I somehow ended up with, when I went to pick up the stitches for the sleeves, you start at the underarm, I ended up with a lot more sleeves in the front than in the back, as you can see. So my saddle, this ribbing part, is going to be like off the back of my shoulder. Like, you're not going to see it as much from the front, unfortunately. I'm not even sure if I'm explaining this perfectly well, but instead of it being like, you know, like this in the front, mine is going to be like pushed back a little bit. And look, it is what it is. Nobody's really going to care, I don't think, but yeah, it's just a little bit annoying, I think, to be honest. I did mid-project block this, so it is like, oh, it's just so nice and drapey and everything, because I just wanted to see how it would settle down before I go in and finish out the body and stuff. So yeah, it's coming along. I'm really excited to have this for my summer wardrobe, I guess. I know, merino wool t-shirt, but I run cold, so it's going to be perfectly fine for me. Also, I live in Ireland, so it's really not going to be an issue. So yeah, that is my Skyline Tee by Tori Yu. The last whip I just want to talk about is, and I'm so excited about this one, I'm excited about all of them really, is the Dagmar Jacket by PetiteKnit. I have been eyeing this for so long and just really wanting to build up the courage to dive into it. And basically what happened was, I didn't really plan it, but I was on a bit of a road trip in Ireland with my partner, and we came across this small shop near the sea, and they were selling wool. So they had a lot of like different things, different kind of incense and, you know, body lotions and all kinds of like crafty things in there. But they were selling wool, and it was just like a bag of kind of loosely wound skeins. They were 200-gram skeins of Aran yarn, and it was from Kerry Woolen Mills. And they were saying they'd just gotten it in, and I was immediately captivated because it just, I loved it. So I bought it. I bought a sweater quantity, I suppose. I knew at some point I wanted to make the Dagmar jacket, but this kind of spurred me on. So I just bought probably way more than I actually need, but I'm obsessed. So it's just a classic Aran wool, I guess, is what you think of when you think of Aran, like Aran sweaters and things. So I did gauge swatch, and this is my gauge swatch, and you will probably see that I messed up the honeycomb stitch, but that's okay. I was still able to measure. So I washed and blocked, I blocked this gauge swatch, and I think I got gauge for it. So I started out, so I'm using a 4.5mm needle, and I will show you. So it starts with the back panel, and you start at the back neck and you work down the shaping for the shoulders. And so this is what I have so far. There she is. I am obsessed, absolutely obsessed with this. I'm making a size medium because, as I said, I have a lot of yarn. I'll show you what it looks like. So it's Kerry Woolen Mills. So this is what the yarn cake looks like. I actually, when I was winding it, I couldn't wind the whole skein in one go because my winder was too small. So I had to cut it as I went. So I have tons of like cakes of yarn. But anyway, I think I bought way too much of it, but it's just so nice. It's definitely rustic, that's for sure. But like, even when I just leave it like on my lap or something, it's so warm. I can't wait to have this as like my Dagmar jacket. So where I'm at with it right now is I have gone to, it says to knit to X amount for the back, and then you put those stitches on hold, and then you start picking up stitches along the shoulders. So that's where I'm at the moment. I've reached the length for that it says in the pattern. I'm just knitting it to pattern. However, and I know it's a hot topic about the Dagmar, about the shoulder designs not lining up with the sleeves. I do think that's something that will, sorry if I just hit the microphone. I do think that's something that will drive me crazy. So I heard on a previous podcast that I watched that someone had figured out how to line them up pretty easily. So I might go and try and remember who that was and what they said, and see if I can make this design here, the diamond, line up with the sleeves. I think it was something about just casting on extra stitches or something, but I'll figure it out, and I'll give an update in the future if I find it. If I don't find it, I'm just going to get over myself, to be perfectly honest. I'm not going to lose sleep about about my shoulder designs not lining up, and also it's going to be on the back. I'm not going to be looking at it. So yeah, so that's where we're at. Absolutely obsessed with this. It's just so lovely and like squishy and warm, and yeah, I can't wait to have this as an actual jacket. And I just want to mention as well, so with this I treated myself to a new set of needles, not like a set, just needles. So I bought the Haya Sharps. I don't know if you'll be able to see this. Probably not. I bought the Hiya sharp needles, so sharp needle tips, and they have this like kind of blue cord, but the needle like swivels with the cord, which is great because the previous needles I was using, I'll show you an example. My handy Bean and Dingle coffee tin. Okay, so as an example, I was just using these like pony needles. Now these are fixed. I do have an interchangeable set of these pony needles, but they don't, the interchangeable set, they don't swivel with the needles, so they keep coming undone. It's super frustrating, and also the tips of the pony needles are not very sharp, which I was finding really difficult for working on like something like this, with like the honeycomb and things. As I said, I'm a bit of a tight knitter, so I was finding that was actually really hard to do, like the honeycomb and stuff, and like the different cables with the pony needles. Now I only did a couple rows with pony before I was in a shop and I saw these, so I got these in one of my other local yarn stores, and I saw these and I thought, you know what, I'm going to treat myself to that now, and I'm obsessed with them. I think I might start like building out a set of them because they genuinely feel so nice. And yeah, that's about all I have to say really on my Dagmar sweater. I think that's mostly what I've been working on. It's what I've been working on the most at the moment. So I think the next step is to put the bottom stitches, so put these stitches on hold, and then it's pick up for the sleeves here. So I need to do some research on whether I can align those diamonds or not. And if I can, then go ahead with it. So that's the next step with that. So yeah, they're my 3 main whips at the moment. I have a few other small things going on. I had started a while back, I'd started a Maxine hot water bottle cover, and I can't even remember what else at the moment, but lots of nice things. Yeah, that's it for the whips at the moment. I definitely have other things, but I'm not going to go into them right now. There's a few bits I'll probably at some stage do, you know, those videos like the whip parade, should I keep it or frog it? I definitely have been interested in those in the last little while, so I might do something similar because I do have definitely one in mind that I just don't know what to do with. So yeah, we'll see how that transpires. And finally, acquisitions. I am trying not to buy yarn, okay? I have enough of it. I have enough for the future projects that I want to make. I'll go through kind of a yarn stash tour maybe at some stage. I don't have a huge stash by any stretch of the imagination, but I do have yarn that I'm intending to use for a specific project. So I might go through something like that in terms of more like a planning video or something. Pretty soon. I don't really do like the seasonal planning because yeah, it's a bit restrictive for me at the moment. I don't have the time to like block out specific things. So like my stripe pipe has been going on for a very long time, but I won't be getting finished objects every week. So this will be a bit more, you know, there'll be a bit of time between them. So the acquisition I want to share with you, one of 2, is a book. There she is. I got Knits to Wear by Veronika Lindberg, who I was saying earlier, Veronika, the designer of the stripe pipe sweater that I'm making. I really like, this is her second book and I really like it. I wanted to buy it for so long, but the shops in Ireland were sold out of it. The yarn stores that were selling it were sold out, and I was going to have to buy it directly from the publisher, from Lane Publishing, and that's what I did in the end. Bit of a story about that, but I'll keep it for another video. All good, nothing bad. I just made some extra spur of the moment purchases that are interesting, but I'll keep them for another video, so stay tuned. But yeah, in this book, she's got so many beautiful patterns, and just the photography and like the feel of it, the different things that are included are stunning. So just as an example, one of the sweaters that I really want to make from this book at some stage, I'm not sure when, is this Take Me Out sweater. So it has this kind of lace, I'm not sure if you can see that very well, this kind of lace pattern, and then it's the cuff details, the cables on the cuffs and the cable on the ribbing at the end, and this is another version of it. It's just stunning. I think those little details are just beautiful. So yeah, I'd really like to make that at some point. And another sweater that I really like in here as well is the coffee run sweater. Like, who doesn't need just a plain, you know, crew neck sweater in their collection? I would really like to do that. It's got really cool like raglan detailing. Yeah, I'd really like to make this sweater as well. The only drawback that I was looking at for that sweater is the materials that it's knitted with. I think it's like 3 strands held together or something like that. So that's something maybe I'd have to do a bit of research into it just to see what I'd like to use for it. But the last thing that I really want to make, and again, this is very non-seasonal, but I'd love to make this hat. I really like the cables that she has. It's called Twist It. Yeah, I really like the cables in the hat, and I would definitely have to gauge swatch given my previous gauge issues with the Veronika Lindberg hat, but that's a me problem. So yeah, this is Knits to Wear, as I said, made by Lane Publishing, and really, really happy with this. It's just so nice. And she has tips on like how to, you know, polish your knits and like level up your knitting and things like that in the book as well. I should have probably said this is in no way sponsored. I bought all of this. Obviously, it's like my first video in a year. I bought all of these things with my own money. So as I said, I was buying the book directly from Lane Publishing, so I did end up having to pay for shipping. So I was like, well, let's make it worth my while. And one of the other things that I was really intrigued by that just came out end of April, I think, is this Let's Crochet magazine. And I was really intrigued by, well, first of all, this yellow t-shirt top on the cover. I just think is so pretty and very different as well. That, yeah, it just had so many nice patterns in it and so many like different kind of crochet patterns that I'd be really intrigued by. So like, for example, this stunning sweater, very kind of unlike other, I'm not even sure if you can see that very well, unlike other crochet style sweaters that you would see normally, I guess. Yeah, like case in point, I guess a lot of people think of something like this, but crochet, but it's not always like that. And that's not a pattern in the book, it's just a picture. Or like, yeah, the granny square style. So this magazine is actually not very like that. So it has this kind of cool vest here. That pattern is in the magazine. It has also this like sunflower vest. And it has some really cool bag patterns. So like this lemon shape bag, which is really kind of whimsical, I suppose, for summer. And it has another bag as well. Oh yeah. So it also has this green tote bag as well, which I think is so cool. Yeah, it just has some really cool patterns, and you can see this green top as well is in the pattern section. But it just has some really cool crochet things, kind of contemporary. There's the yellow top again, in a bigger picture, which I thought was very interesting, and I'd like to give some of them a go. And yeah, they were 2 of my acquisitions for this week, and I hope you found that interesting. I'm really excited to use these patterns and try and like make something nice during the summer. I like how in this book as well, it's got summer patterns, it's got kind of tank tops and things, but it's also got, as I showed, like the beanie and the sweaters. So it'll be nice to try and start those kind of bits maybe come autumn. So yeah, that's about it for me, I think. I have been very rusty in this video podcast. I hope that some of what I brought up was interesting. I hope you liked seeing what I'm making at the moment. And yeah, look, I'm hoping to get back on board this YouTube train at the moment and see how often I can put out, you know, a video podcast. I'm hoping for like maybe every 2 weeks, but if it's every month, so be it. I have a lot of things going on, like as does everybody. So I'm hoping to check in a bit more regularly. But yeah, super happy if you made it all the way to here. Thank you so much for watching. And yeah, if you want to say hello down in the comments, I'd be more than happy to have a conversation. So yeah, thanks everyone. And I hope you have a great rest of your day. Bye.